Live from Bethesda, Maryland, where the winters are hard and the cookies are soft, this is the Robert Dyer Channel Christmas Countdown 2021. And now, the future fast food correspondent for Playboy magazine, Robert Dyer. Hi everybody, Robert Dyer, and welcome to the Robert Dyer Channel Christmas Countdown, where we're still going to February 2nd, and the Christmas season is not over yet. And here from the True Respite Brewery, right here in Montgomery County in Derwood, Maryland. And this has just been put out on January 21st, and it's going to be in the retail stores starting this week, wherever they sell this brand, but also you can order it online at truerespite.com. And this is a very special type of beer. It is Onyx Realm, and it is a Russian Imperial Stout. And this is so new that there aren't even any reviews on it as I film this video online, so I can't really get anybody else's opinion or additional ideas about what the flavor is. But I know that Russian Imperial Stouts are usually about 7 to 12 ABV, and this is 13% alcohol by volume, so it's even stronger than the average Russian Imperial Stout. And it says they fermented in stages for a stronger flavor, and it's brewed with a blend of heavy roasted malts. And on the website they say about the flavor: layers of roast and some sweet malt, and surprisingly low alcohol impression, which I guess with the 13% is something notable. They don't mention anything about the aroma or about pairings. However, I know that they had some tastings this weekend with this beer that were with a chocolate tasting, so I'm assuming chocolate will go with it. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the packaging here. So here you have the brewery logo, and obviously the name of the beer. You have this sort of a wavy design. One pint, 13% alcohol by volume. And then here on the back you have the Independent Craft Brewers Association certification. You have the state of Maryland, where it's from, and then more specifically, MoCo made, drink local, Montgomery County, Maryland. And here vertically you have the address in Derwood, Maryland, and you have the artist of the can design here, and you can follow her at Designer Squirrel. And so the question, of course, what is a Russian Imperial Stout? As I said, it's usually higher in alcohol, it's hoppier, and the flavors are dark, kind of like that last beer I reviewed: chocolate, coffee, dark fruit. But what is the significance of Russian? And that makes this I think one of the more interesting stories of how a beer style developed, because this style of beer was not developed in Russia or anywhere near it. It was actually in England. So how does this end up being called Russian Imperial Stout? So how does this happen? Well, you'll be able to read on a number of beer websites that Peter the Great went to England, and what they don't tell you is why or what he was doing there. So I have to go back to when I minored in Russian history. Latin America was my major focus when I majored in history, but I took a lot of Russian courses also. And when you think of Peter the Great, he's probably the guy that put Russia on the course to become a superpower like it was in the 20th century. And so, like they say, he went to England, but the reason he went there was that he had a big problem, a fear of the Ottoman Empire, and so he went on a tour of Europe, and he was trying to be very discreet about it, but then he would ask the different kings if they would help him out, and a lot of them said no because they already had some sort of financial or other ties with the Ottomans. So he was not very successful in that regard, but he was successful in trying a stout beer when he was in England. And he liked it so much that when he went back, he had a whole bunch shipped to Russia, and when it arrived, it had all spoiled. And so when he reported that back to England, they decided to try to boost the alcohol content to keep it from spoiling on the long trip. Lo and behold, this shipment arrived and it was good and fresh. And this ends up becoming a very popular beer among the Russian Imperial Court. And then later, Catherine the Great is a fan of this beer also, which makes a little more sense if you know that she was actually German, not Russian, and her name wasn't even Catherine, it was Sophie. So this is going to be a strong beer with a strong flavor, and sometimes so strong that some people recommend you simply store it for about 6 months and then the flavor will mellow a bit. Now that doesn't make any sense for me giving you a review, but you might want to buy some extra of this and then store that away for the summer and then see how it is then, what the flavor changes are. So let's go ahead and open this up. Hopefully there's no explosion here. There she blows. Now let's well, the aroma, I'll say the aroma is not as strong as that Guinness stout that I just reviewed back a few weeks ago. Definitely is a malt, dark, roasted, little bit of a coffee aroma. Finest bachelor's glassware. There we see quite a large head, about a couple of inches almost, and a very dark beer underneath. Kind of in terms of the beer alcohol aroma, it kind of reminds me of a Schlitz malt liquor, putting aside the actual dark aromas. And you can also see that the head is hanging around here down to about 1.5 inches still. But let's go ahead and see how it tastes. Well, yeah, it's definitely not, the alcohol level isn't as apparent as the Guinness was, and I think that was pretty close in ABV as I recall. A little bit of a coffee, nutty flavor, roasted nuts. It's very smooth, but I would not call it a dry finish. Certainly a hoppy beer. Probably more refreshing than the average dark beer or stout. Still got about 1 centimeter of a head on it, and coffee, even a little bit of just a hint of a toast flavor. Bob, I can't believe you're not giving a toast to the man of the hour, Meatloaf, he's gone too soon, but he left behind his body of work. I tell you an incredible story about the movie called Black Dog, in which Meatloaf starred with Randy Travis. What a lineup of Shakespearean actors. Of course, it turned out I can now tell the world this was not a movie, but rather a sting operation set up by the FBI. You may have heard how sometimes the federal marshals and the local sheriff's departments will set up a fake event to attract America's most wanted to a certain location so they can arrest them. This was just such a case. No movie like this would ordinarily be released in theaters. So when the people arrived at the theater, at the box office, they gave tickets to the America's Most Wanted for one auditorium and to the regular people coming in for another auditorium. And once they had the criminals inside the theater, they locked all the doors, and the authorities came in down at the bottom, right below the screen, and they said, "Before we all go downtown, we just want to know, why did you all come out tonight?" And a criminal up in the top row by the projector stood up and said, "Meatloaf! That hits the spot. Hits the spot.
Hits the spot. Woo!
Well, when you try this, you'll have no doubt you're drinking a stout. You're going to have that smoky, sort of dark flavor and aftertaste, but at the same time, despite this being a Russian stout, kind of like they promised, it doesn't have as strong of an alcohol flavor. But if you're looking for that higher alcohol content, this is going to definitely deliver that. It just, comparing to some of the more recent stout reviews I've done, this is much easier to drink. It's disappearing a lot faster in the glass or cup as it may be. It's not something that you're sipping smaller amounts of as much in relative terms. I would say that in addition to the chocolate, this would probably go well with any sort of a sharp or smoky cheese, any type of smoked sausage, and also again with a lot of desserts. I think desserts where you get a good contrast with this, like a frosted cake or some kind of a cream-filled pastry or something, an after-dinner type beer, a cold winter's night beer, certainly. I guess that's obviously why they're bringing it out right now. So I would probably get this again, but it's probably not going to be around for long given the smaller size of the brewery. So if you have true Respite in your local store, look for this starting this week. Get it online. Otherwise, I would recommend this for this style of beer and for some of the exceptional characteristics of this. I'm going to go ahead and give this 5 stars out of 5. I don't see how I can otherwise. So I hope you like this video. Share it with your friends. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time tomorrow on this Christmas countdown. Bye, everybody.